I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Music Theory Tuition series where I work with you step by step through the ABRSM Discovering Music Theory grades. I'll work through every single exercise and explain everything you need to know. You can access information about the books I have available to help you on my website. Go to sharonbill.com. For advert-free and longer lessons, you can become a patron at patreon.com/SharonBill. If you can give me a like, that would be super, and please do subscribe to my channel to stay updated. You can support this channel by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SharonBill. Carrying on in the Grade 3 ABRSM Discovering Music Theory workbook, we move on to page 18, looking at the topic of compound and simple time signatures. And we look at the difference between 6/8 or 3/4, and we've already had a little peep at this in previous lessons, but let's look at this a little more closely now. Because if you're just counting the number of quaver beats per bar, you'll find that you can see that there are the same number of beats. If you ignore how it's beamed, we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quaver beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quaver beats. And so just counting the number of quaver beats won't tell you whether it's 6/8 or 3/4. We do have to remember that compound time is divided into groups of 3, whereas simple time simple time is divided into groups of 2. And so we need to show each crotchet beat with a dot here, because we're counting in dotted crotchet beats to show 1, 2, 3 quaver beats, whereas here we're just counting a crotchet beat which divides into 2 quaver beats. And 6/8 is 2 groups of 3, group 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. That is duple time. Whereas here 3/4 is 1, 2, 3 groups of 2. That is triple time, a completely different musical effect. Here we have 3 beats in a bar, 3 crotchet beats. Here we have 2 beats in a bar, 2 dotted crotchet beats. And the way that we beam things should always reflect whether we're in this duple compound or the simple triple. And so here we can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 quavers. 1, 2, 3, 4 quavers. Here, this quaver must be left on its own to show that belongs to dotted crotchet beat 1. Whereas here, that's all of beat 2 and all of beat 3. So we can see there's our dotted crotchet beat. So it's very, very important to make sure we beam things correctly. So here we can see a group of 3 quavers. 1, 2 semi gives a quaver. There's the third quaver, 1, 2, 3. Whereas here, 2 semis, of course, still always adds up to a quaver, but that quaver plus quaver gives us our crotchet beat. Unlike our dotted crotchet beat, we need to include this extra quaver, whereas here that belongs to beat 2 and then beat 3, whereas beat 2 here is 3 quaver beats showing the second dotted crotchet beat. So you've always got to think about tidying up where each new beat starts. And so we need to be careful. There are 6 quaver beats in each of these little exercises here. However, we've got to be careful to show, is it simple time? Are we counting in crotchet beats? Or is it compound time? Are we counting in dotted crotchet beats? And so at a first glance, this will tell us, because we can see we've got a group of 3. So we can see 1, 2, 3 quaver beats in this dotted crotchet beat, and then 1, 2, 3 quavers here. And so that cannot be 3/4, it has to be 6/8, because 3/4 would have to keep this one separate as a finishing of beat 2, and then beat 3 would be beamed separately here. So we can see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now here we can see this is 1, 2, and then there's the third quaver beat. That's got to be on its own because it's beat 1. Here's dotted crochet beat 1. Here's dotted crochet beat 2. This cannot be beamed to this because that's the end of beat 1 and the start of beat 2 reflected in the beaming. And we can see very simply here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now then, this next one is a little bit sneaky at first because it looks like we're in groups of 3 here. We're not, however, because this is a triplet which shows 3 in the time of 2. 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 So although it looks like we've got 3 notes here, which we have not got 3 beats. We haven't got 3 quaver beats even. It's 3 quaver beats squished into the time of 2 quaver beats. We've only actually got 2 quaver beats here. And if you look a bit more closely, we can see quaver, 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 quaver. Here we have a quaver, and then a dot is a semi-quaver. With this semi-quaver gives us our second quaver beat here. And then it's further made more complicated by the fact that we have an anacrusis. So this first bar isn't complete and this last bar isn't complete. We've only actually got 2 crochet beats here, which with the lead in gives us our full value. And so we can see we've got 1 crochet beat, 2 crochet beats, and then 3 crochet beats. We could even, if you get a bit confused with this, we could even diagram it out. There's a crochet beat. We've got a quaver, which is half. The dot is half of that half, which is a quarter, and there's our remaining quarter. We can see there's our crochet beat. We've got a crochet beat, crochet beat. 3 in the time of 2 gives us a crochet beat. We've got 1, 2, 3 crochet beats per bar. 3 in the time of 2 is a crochet beat. 3 quavers in the time of 2 quavers is a crochet beat. 1, 2, 3 crochet beats. And then this bar is not complete because it's the anacrusis completing that initial bar. So there we go. We can easily see that's actually simple time in groups of 2, and there are 3 crochet beats per bar. And now this one is particularly tricky at the beginning because it's not beamed at all at first, is it? But that in itself does give us the clue. And if you look further on, we can see groups of 3. And we can see there's a dotted crochet group. There's a dotted crochet group. And actually, if this was in 3, 4, we'd have those would be beamed together, wouldn't they? There would be a crochet beat, there would be a crochet beat, and the fact that they're not beamed together is in fact the clue because there's beats 1, 2, 3. We can't beam those 2 together. 1, 2, 3. In actual fact, what could sometimes occur is we could have that, and that does help us a little bit. They've perhaps not done that in this case though, just to make it a little bit more sneaky. So we can see 1, 2, 3. That is not beamed to that, that's the start of the second group. So we can see 1, 2, 3 is our next group there. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is in compound time, we're in groups of 3. This is not complete here because that's going to be the remaining 5 quaver beats for this anacrusis here. And I think we've exhausted that to prove the point that this is 6 over 8, which is compound duple, 2 dotted crochet beats per bar. And that's the end of that section. That's the end of that page. That's the end of that chapter. We will get some more revision on compound time when we come to the exam paper at the end of the book. I suggest we leave it until then. Give the information time to settle, perhaps give yourself a chance to even forget about it, and then we can revise it when we come again to the exam paper. I hope this is helpful to your studies. Please do like and subscribe to stay updated. If you'd like to support this channel, you can buy me a coffee, and for advert-free lessons you can become a patron. Do visit my website where you'll find many resources available to help you. Visit sharonbill.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.